Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me at another Executive Masterclass brought to you by eXp University. And the one I'm going to be sharing today is on attraction. So what we've done is we've researched what works, what doesn't, what's the most effective thing, and distilled it into the 4 pillars of attraction. So this is what we're going to present. So you have all the talking points and all of what the research has shown us works. So I'm going to jump right into it. Top attractors lean into one or more of these. So these are the 4 that are the most successful forms of attraction, and I'll break each one of them down. The first one is attraction through production, leveraging transactions to attract. That's the one that I think appeals to the broadest amount of agents, right? Agents are here to sell homes. And so the question I always ask people is how we can take you from X to Y, 0 to 1, 1 to 5, 5 to 20, 20 to 50, 50 to 150, right? The how to sell at a high level is probably the most attractive thing we can do. Attraction through influence, building a compelling personal brand. We have many examples where agents have built a very appealing personal brand, whether it's through talking about production or building a social media funnel, or becoming that local expert inside of your market, but being the focus of an agent's funnel being influence, social media influence, speaking on big industry stages, and creating a brand that is attractive for other folks to follow and or emulate. The third one we identified is attraction through value. So the agents who historically have been really good coaches and mentors, whether it was at a traditional office, inside of an actually organized coaching platform and system, and then the folks that provide the most support, right? So through an organized, systematic training and coaching system. And the number 4 thing we've identified in no particular order is attraction through networking events. So we have very successful examples of folks who have built a very thriving attraction business by connecting others and using masterminds and industry events as the attraction funnel. And you know, you can think of it whether it's local events, right, inside of your own market, as simple things as social events, as well as masterminding events where you're really getting together to share best practices, and then national events, whether it's piggybacked off other industry events, or whether you invite folks to a specific event, but they're in national in nature, meaning people are flying from across the country. So let's unpack the first one that's on the list: attraction through production. Agents follow success. Show them how you're growing your business and how you can help them do the same. They will naturally want to align with you. Again, my script for that is, let me show you how to go from X to Y. If an agent's hit a ceiling, whether it's a solo producer or a team leader, they may be stuck at some limit based on the tools and training they have that are available to them. And so that's how you create that opportunity. So one very successful tool that has worked for agents who do this is turning every transaction into an attraction opportunity. Most transactions in this country happen through co-broke. So you can turn a co-broke into a conversation, compliment and ask, right? You're a phenomenal agent, and assuming that you had a good experience with them. So we only want you attracting professional, high-performing agents, not unprofessional folks who were difficult during the transaction, but compliment their skills if that's what they've displayed to you, and ask them if they're open to having a conversation, and see their offer support first. So that I would say that happens across all of successful attracting, is to actually act as if they're already in business with you, meaning be as open as possible, be as helpful as possible. When you think about what even I do at my level, is I try to be their CEO before they're even with us, right? I open source our forms. I make as many of our trainings available. I speak at as many events as I can, because I want agents to then have a affinity to eXp and myself. And so they're more open to joining the company. Leveraging your production to build influence and social proof, right? So what does that look like? And this also works inside of your own business, right? Your social media feed should be edification to your competence. So post about your deals and strategies daily, right? And that's a two-pronged approach, because one, that resonates with buyers and sellers, right? They want to know that you're competent at what it is you do and helping them find homes, whether you're buying or selling, as well as the agents who are following you. If you are demonstrating social proof of how good you are at what you do, and agents are struggling or wanting to level up, they're going to want to reach out to you for you to show them how it is you do what you do. Show them behind the scenes, right? Show them the activities you're doing on a daily basis, whether it's lead gen activities, transactions, closings, guiding people home, whatever it is that you do very well. Make sure you're demonstrating, because again, it is a two-prong benefit. One is you're demonstrating to agents who are not with us, who are open to being with us, and they're going to want to learn from you. And equally as important, or more important, is to buyers and sellers who follow you, who at a later date may be interested in buying and selling real estate, and they're going to want to hire you. Invite agents into your process and provide them value, right? Host production masterminds monthly at the local level, maybe around larger events or other industry events. You can have a mastermind, piggybacked around another national conference. Offer training before attraction, meaning having a portion of your value proposition that's open to anybody, independent of eXp or a company affiliation. Make it so where they can come and listen. And this will be posted on YouTube. I am doing the same thing. This is actually an example of that. And use the try before you buy strategy, right? Give people the ability to be in relationship with you before they've been officially here, right? Offer them support, whether it's answering their questions, showing them how to do what you do and how do you do it at a high level. How are you helping agents wear their production before you join? That's a wonderful question. Attraction through influence. Influence is built through consistency, value, and visibility. Focus on helping first, and the attraction will follow. Build a strong personal brand that agents want to be a part of. Develop a clear brand message. Post daily insights. Use the authority content framework, right? Decide what it is you're messaging. And there's very successful ones, right? There are ones that are super content based on what it is, the business model you do. So are you a niche expert? Are you explaining exactly how you sell homes at a high level through a specific niche? Are you bringing comedy and laughter and kind of bringing out the lighter side of the industry? Are you teaching others how to be the local mayor and generate leads via YouTube and Instagram and Facebook? Decide which one you're using. So that's developing a clear brand message. And then secondly, post consistently. Daily's ideal, where you're reminding the people that are your audience. Again, a lot of this, applies directly into generating buyer and seller leads. And frequency is very important. Use the authority content framework, which means that you are coming across as an expert because you are giving expert advice on a very regular basis. Position yourself as a valuable resource, not a recruiter. Hosting monthly masterminds on high demand topics. So the key here is to actually genuinely do that. Do not disguise a mastermind as a very direct recruiting event, because that just, I think people, especially in the modern digital age, crave authenticity. I think so much of what comes across on the internet is somewhat disingenuous. And so genuinely create value, create experiences that are unique, create experiences where you are giving value to people and make them timely, make them relevant to today's market. Share free training videos on social media and through email. Make sure that you're giving. Make sure that you're giving as much as you can away for free, because that builds the curiosity that leads to then viewership and followership. And once people are in rapport with you and are listening to you, they get a lot more curious about being in business with you. Use value-based follow-ups, meaning make sure that every interaction you have with people is meaningful and delivering a high level of value. Consistency and visibility leads to attraction. Post at least 5 times per week, right? That feels like a lot, but if you think about who the folks you follow the most on social, it's consistency. It's consistency that's super valuable and amazing. And engage with other agents that are posting daily, right? I talk about this a lot, that once upon a time, 20 years ago, if you had a database like a top producer, you almost had to wait for a third-party event to reach out to people, right? The time zones were changing, the stamps were going up in price. You needed an excuse, whether it was a time of year, pumpkin pie drop off or tax season. Now you have the ability to engage with your sphere of influence from wherever you are. If you're sitting in idle traffic or on a plane or at a home inspection or at an open house and no one's coming through, like stuff, genuinely comment and engage in the people you want to have a relationship. And again, this goes both to agents you're trying to attract as well as consumers who you're trying to build a relationship with. Keep track of the agents who you engage with, right? So whether you're using a CRM database or you're using your social media, make sure that the people you're engaging with, you're following up. So have a call to action, make sure you engage them in a meaningful way. So the question here is, what effective content are you posting online? Make sure that you're very intentional with the way that you are communicating with the people following you. Attraction through value. Agents will join you if they feel supported, valued, and connected. Agents are drawn to those who help them grow. And, very successful ways of doing that is offer free coaching or training sessions on high impact topics. Create a 30-day challenge for agents to implement. Instead of leading with recruitment, start with an offer, right? All 3 of those in that first bullet point are value, and if you realize it's all free, right? You are offering free coaching, training sessions on high impact topics. You are creating challenges that get people engaged. I've met agents who have had really successful challenges with do 30 open houses in 30 days, where you're literally holding a different house open every single day around hours that work for you. And by getting other folks to get engaged with you, you create a lot of energy and activity, right? Activity creates energy, energy creates results. And again, I would almost take the recruiting word out of your language. And first of all, it should be attraction, meaning that you are putting so much value out into the community that it becomes easy for people to jump in. Providing tools and resources lower resistance to change. Build a value vault, meaning that you're creating this collection of ideas and content that make being around you very valuable, and you can direct people there. Create a weekly email with actionable tips. The one thing I harp on and talk a lot about is being a sample size of 1. Would you read the content you're sending out? Is it helpful and impactful to someone's day? And does that make sense and does that work? So make sure you are doing that, and use yourself as a sample size of 1. Don't just use a template or some canned words that come out of a ChatGPT prompt. Make sure you're being thoughtful and make it useful and additive to that person's life. Ask agents, what's the most challenging thing in your business right now? One of the things I've put into my habits is to not make assumptions, right? Don't jump on a call and start verbally, spewing on people a bunch of stuff that's top of mind for you. I actually like to start all conversations with questions. What is the most impactful way that we can make this call be beneficial for both of us? Are there questions that you don't have answers to? I can assume that most people have heard a pitch of whether it's our model or a similar model. And so I would actually stop right there and ask a lot of questions first. Giving agents a community they can rely on is a game changer. Know your RS partner experts. Host, and invite. Host, and invite. Create a private Facebook group or a WhatsApp group. Making sure that people have a community to rely on to answer questions. And again, we as the company really want to create and support the transactional part of that. So we don't want agents having to rely on other agents for broker support. But once you have a community, you could have Facebook groups or WhatsApp groups, whether it's for creating value events, tips and tricks, again, going back to teaching people how to sell more real estate, scaling an idea, these value propositions and groups are extremely valuable. And for this thought, what are the most common needs you hear from agents, and what value touches are in your value vault to address those? So the reminder, everyone, is that no experience is completely unique. Typically, agents have the same kind of questions or needs depending on the chapter of their career they're in. So brand new agents, highly productive solos, brand new team leaders, highly productive team leaders, they all kind of go through the same shared experience. And so there are things you can collect that you can be the arbiter of information and passing that along and touching them at the appropriate times in their career from an information standpoint, and making sure that that's all available to the folks that are in your funnel and you're staying in touch with. Attraction through networking events. Networking and events are about building long-term relationships and providing ongoing value. And one of the other things that's really important of in-person events is you create a lot of energy. People get excited when they're around other human beings. We are mostly DIs in this industry with a lot of high I. So most participants in the real estate industry get a lot of energy out of being around other people. Hosting events positions you as a leader and a magnet for agents. So being the one hosting and organizing the events gives you credibility in the industry. You can partner with a lot of your affiliated relationships, like a lender, a title rep, or a vendor to co-host. And that could be great for having contribution of space, right? Like who's going to provide the space, especially since we're a cloud-based company, but also having those partners invite other participants, right? So the key to this and doing it correctly is to have it not be about attraction, have it be about timely, market-specific topics that are in high demand and how you can work through it. And also then rolling up your sleeves and making personal invitations, right? Don't make assumptions that anybody else is going to do it on your behalf. Attending the right events gives you warm, high-value conversations. So the flip side of that is if you are going to be attempting to become that center of influence in your local market and put on events, you need to also participate and attend other industry events on a regular basis. So you're you're reciprocating, right? By attending other people's events, when you invite them to yours, there's probably a higher probability they're going to want to get involved. And so you should probably make a cadence and a frequency that you'll be attending those events. Focus on relationship building, right? When you're at these events, treat them like a business activity where you're trying to build rapport, whether it's strictly like, hey, what business do you focus on? What niche do you focus on? How can I help you? How can you help me? And then, for the folks where there is a high level of connection and potential opportunity, invite them to coffee, follow up in the next week or sooner, right? Treat them like an opportunity for a buyer or seller lead where you're actually following up and seeing how you guys can work together. Follow-up after events is where the real attraction happens. After every event, schedule follow-ups within 48 hours. Set up a 3-way call and tailor follow-up value, right? If there's somebody in your upline or somebody not in your upline that you think would be able to articulate the value proposition, that's a great opportunity to do that. And add those new connections to a private agent mastermind group, right? So if you have a private Facebook group or a WhatsApp group, you can add folks as you're creating the opportunities to work with them. So the question I'll leave you here in this topic is, what local events are effective for you in creating new connections, and how are you purposeful about them? And just like everything else in life, follow-up is everything. The best attractors don't chase. They position themselves as a trusted resource over time. Agents rarely join on the first conversation. Play the long game. Schedule follow-ups in CRM. Use check-in messages. Create valid touch points. The best attractors stay in their prospects' awareness, even when they're not ready. And I think the most powerful way to do that is to leverage social media touch points. Send non-sales touch points every month. So make sure you're focusing and double down on value. Make sure you continue to give value and re-invite them to regular events, whether quarterly, monthly, where you get to expose them to the strength of the network, the mind share, the opportunity to grow and learn from other people. And timing life events can shift readiness. Be there when it happens, right? Somebody could say no right now, and then they get upset with their current company because of a shift or change or policy or lack thereof support. You want to be the first person they call. When I was selling homes, I remember the loan officer who became my go-to loan officer called me once, and I said, I'm sure you have a great lending partner, but I want to be your backup. I want to actually interview to be number two, which no one had ever used on me as a script. And I said, well, that's a very reasonable ask. And lo and behold, my primary relationship eventually made a mistake and disappointed me quite a bit. And we were able to eventually have the person in second position become my number one lending partner. So we've all experienced that with vendors. I don't think that most of agents have thought about that as an opportunity to be their broker. Check in after big market events or changes, right? So whether it's a shift in policy at the MLS level, state association, NAR, and lately we've been seeing quite a bit of those. Listen for agents' frustration and take notes. So be able to articulate how we differ from their current company. Perfect example of that is how fast we pay people. The amount of support we have, from 24-hour, 7-day-a-week email ticket support to live phone calls, the amount of brokers we have in certain markets to support agents, and then use the no hard feelings close, right? Make sure that there is absolutely no pressure, no pivot in behavior if they don't join you at that moment, because the reality is people will be ready when they're ready, if they're ready. And regardless of whether they join you or not, building rapport with fellow agents in your market, in your industry, is a super positive win for you as you continue to build a business and a reputation inside of the industry. And the question here is, what is your follow-up system? Is it a CRM? Is it purely social? Do you have an Excel spreadsheet? And when it comes to follow-up systems, I tell people the ones that work best are the ones you use, right? So it could be a very simple CRM. It could be a very complex CRM. It could be as simple as a notepad on your phone, but have some form of follow-up system where you're being consistent and making sure that you're staying in touch with folks. Thank you, everybody. This is not a very long training. I wanted to give you some very specific thoughts, talk tracks, and things to focus on as you embark on building a revenue share pillar inside of your business. Thank you very much, everybody. Let me do that last one again. Thank you very much. That brings this masterclass to a conclusion. I hope you find value. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out in any of our systems. Take care.